Okay.
Okay, everyone, welcome to New Consultant Training, Class 1. Today is October, oh gosh, what is today's date? October, help me out somebody, 13th, right? October 13th. It's just even hard to fathom that's already October. But I want to welcome you guys to the Read Rockstar and also to our New Consultant Training. This is one of the things that I absolutely love to do. Actually, it's funny. My boyfriend yesterday had said to me, what is the one thing that you love most about Pampered Chef? And I said, of course, the products. That's, obviously we know that, but it's the ability to be able to share this business with other people and to see them achieve, their God-given talents and, kind of being able to help them achieve the goals that they are looking for. So ultimately, the coach function of the Pampered Chef is my absolute favorite. So today we're going to whip through this New Consultant Training. We don't expect you to be able to retain a whole lot of it. This business is actually very simple. I encourage you to give yourself some grace for the first 3 weeks. You will feel a little overwhelmed, which is totally normal. As a matter of fact, if you don't feel overwhelmed, I will be feeling that way for you. So just expect that things are going to feel a bit scattered. And then all of a sudden around week 3, you'll finally notice that a couple of the pieces are actually fitting nicely into the puzzle. And then by week 4, you're off and running. So I always like to preface it that way because, just like anything new, there is a learning curve. So today we're going to go over class number 1, which is going to go over 3 out of the 7 steps to success. So can you guys see my PowerPoint screen?
I can.
Okay, cool. All righty. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name's Lorraine, and I have been with the Pampered Chef for almost 20 years. I joined back in 1998 when my daughters were 5, 3 months, and 0. The youngest one wasn't born yet. So now my daughters are 30, 25, and 20. So time has definitely flown by, and this business has really weaved itself in and out of my life for those 20 years. And I am super proud to be a Pampered Chef consultant. It's one of those things that it doesn't really matter what the economy is. We always kind of fit because, people have to eat regardless of what the economy is. So when we have a funny economy like we have right now, we fit in so well because more than ever before, people are trying to find ways to save money at the grocery store and save money by cooking at home. So we kind of fit right into that niche all the time. And when the economy is good, we still fit into it. So the good thing is that we're kind of like a consumable product. And so we have fared well over all of these years. We are strongly financially backed by a billionaire. So, we are very strong in that dynamic as well. So Pampered Chef is a very, very strong leading company and very ethically based. So I got started back in 1998 because I wanted to find a way to quit my federal government job. And it kind of felt like a pipe dream because, going from a pretty good income, but of course that was 20 years ago, to kind of an income that was unpredictable, or so I thought. It was a nerve-wracking experience. However, I decided to work Pampered Chef alongside of my full-time job for about 6 months. And then I went part-time in my job. And then at the year mark, I completely quit because I was making more money with Pampered Chef going out doing home parties twice a week than I was with my full-time job. So it was easy to kind of cut those rankings off and decide to just solely focus on Pampered Chef. So I was a consultant with Pampered Chef for 16 years, made more money than my husband, ex-husband, traveled all over the world. My kids got to do things that I never got to do as a kid. The travel was the big thing. They got to do sports that there's no way I could have afforded it without Pampered Chef. And there's so many great opportunities, not just money, but also it really helped me as a person, as a leader, and as a mother, because some of the things that I learned as a consultant really trickled down to my children, and they continue to do. So they were kind of watching me the whole entire way. So again, I want to welcome you. We also have Lori on the line, and she is the rock star of the rock stars. Don't you shake your head no, Lori, you are. She's very, very humble, but she definitely deserves lots of recognition. She is an amazing consultant, so director. So watch out. Lori is definitely already a director, but is definitely going to be moving up the ranks fairly quickly. So thank you, Lori, for joining us as well. And you guys are in the right place at the right time. Orders are incredible right now. So starting at a time like this, getting your business going, you're in the right place at the right time. So we're going to talk a little bit about what our director team looks like. We already showed you a little bit about the new consultant form, which we will then share that with your recruiter so they can help you and kind of craft your business the way you're looking for it. We're going to talk about your why, like what sparked your interest, what motivated you, any concerns that you have. We're going to talk about what's called the Franks list. We're going to talk about how many parties we suggest per week, and then what we call reach outs. So that'll be our agenda for today. We are recording this and you will have access to this PowerPoint so you can go back at any time and sift back through it. So this is kind of what our team structure looks like. We have about 160 consultants on the team. My name again is Lorraine. We have several advanced directors, Karen, Laura, Carol, and then several directors, Julia, Susan, and Lori, as we mentioned. So you will see their names flying by, and we have a Read Rockstar chat. I will tell you, some people prefer to put that on silence because there is a little bit too much non-Pampered Chef stuff sometimes going on. So we do try to curtail that. So if it ever gets overwhelming, just silence it, but don't remove yourself because you're going to be missing a whole crop of information that you may not get on the Read Rockstar Facebook group. So you'll be part of both of those. So you guys have the form in place and you completed those first couple of questions, which is perfect. And those first questions are going to be obviously first and last name, who recruited you, your birthday, have you hosted a party in the last 2 months, and do you have a launch party set? So if you've completed that section, you are good to go. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about your why. So John Maxwell, he is an amazing leader, pastor, motivational speaker, writer, all kinds of different things. And he has some amazing quotes. And one of them is this one: find your why and you'll find your way. And this can be true personally and professionally. And that's why I love Pampered Chef, because it does weave in and out of your personal and your professional life. Why is it so important to find your why? Because your why is what drives you. It's what motivates you. It's what makes you get out of bed each morning, whatever your why happens to be. Maybe your why is to save money so you can pay for a child's wedding, or maybe your why is you want new appliances. My why that really remotivate, and my why started as one thing and has changed probably 15, 20 times over the years. But now my why is I'm 51 and I want to retire, and my goal is to retire at 58. So I'm very, very laser focused because my dad, he passed away 4 years ago. And the best lesson, well, he taught me many, but one of the greatest lessons is he said, you know, find something that you love and retire as soon as you can. So as soon as you can retire. This was a suggestion. And then find something that you love to do. And he knew I already was with Pampered Chef. So that was an easy process for me. So my goal is to have enough money put away and have enough security to where I can quit my full-time job and just blow the Pampered Chef up. So that is the opportunity that I'm looking for. And that's what drives me each and every day to do these calls with you guys, to teach my team, to do my own parties, and so on. I am very focused and very motivated. And that's the beauty of this. You can use this however you choose. If you're saying to yourself, well, I don't really need all that, Lorraine, that's okay. If you just want to make a couple $100s a month, that's cool. So what we try to show you is the big picture, because right now you probably have a small idea as to what Pampered Chef can do for you. But as you go along, you'll start to see other people's stories and things that have happened to them that have changed their life as a result of Pampered Chef. But I will be honest, there are some consultants that just want to give this a try, dip their toe in, see if they like it. And I will tell you, once you get that paycheck, usually people are like, whoa, that was surprising. For example, one of my guests, or my host today, she has been kind of hemming and hawing about joining Pampered Chef. And she had a $1,200 party. And I shared with her because she's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not sure. I said, you know, had you been the consultant of this party, you would have made $354 just from your party. And she was like mouth dropped kind of exclamation points and everything. And she's now changing her tune a little bit, and she has bookings from her party. So she's definitely considered joining where maybe she wouldn't have before. So there's a lot of people out there, just like me, you, and Lori, that are interested in doing something like this. So what I want you to do is really think about what your why is. Again, it could be something simple. Maybe it's to try something I've never done before, or I've always considered doing Pampered Chef, and now I'm going to make myself do it to see if I like it. So on the form, there should be a section there. I don't have both of them in front of me, but it should say, let's talk a little bit about your why and tell us what sparked your interest. So Lori, tell us what sparked your interest.
So I'm an odd story though, because how do I say this? I did a show on a whim. My niece needed that third booking for her to get the $50.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I was in sales before, and I was watching this party, and people from because I had people that were in Florida and just different places, and these orders kept coming in, and I'm just thinking, I could do that. I could do that. I can do that. I mean, because I could see it was broader than what you realize, because when I did the other company, it was just when I worked for the other company, it was only the people in your living room, and this just
Right.
reached farther out. So anyway, and then I just honestly, I've said this, I'm going to say this. I feel like God put it in my lap, because when I signed up, I had no intentions of retiring.
Mm.
I actually, I should have waited 5 years from now, but the business kept growing and growing and growing, and I was just doing a full-time job with Pampered Chef and a full-time job during the day, and it allowed me to retire 5 years earlier than I had anticipated. So my why now, it replaced my income, so that's my why now. But I just see we are just tapping into the beginning of what the possibilities are.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And that's the beauty of it, is that, again, it can be this small business that brings in a couple extra $100, or it can literally change the trajectory of somebody's life. And that's the beauty. And it happens day after day. So it's not that Lori or myself are, some gurus. We just enjoy what we do. So do either of you want to share what inspired you, or what got you excited to join Pampered Chef?
Yeah, I would like to.
Okay.
Well, what started all this, one of my high school friends hosted a Pampered Chef party.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I love all the products. And that helped her out, so she could get some free products. So, and then two other high school friends invited me. So I got products for them. And then I decided to host a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I invited 258 people. Of course, only 33 accepted, but then I only got 5 sales. But I ended up with the minimal, like a total of $237 sale. So I was able to get a product half off and one at 10% discount. And then Karen said, "Are you interested in the business side of it?" Because she said, "I think you'd be great at it." I said, "Sure." So that got me really motivated, hearing her tell me that.
Yeah.
That was really encouraging.
That's awesome.
So I signed up for it a little over a week ago. It's just kind of taken me slow because I have a full-time job. I'm a home health nurse and I travel all over the place. So
yeah.
And I eventually would love to hopefully do this full time.
Yeah.
In the long run. So I'm trying to get some parties started, but my sister has already ordered from my website.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she's not hosting a party, but she already placed an order today.
Oh, very nice.
And yeah, so I know this is taking time, but I'm hoping as time goes by, it's going to grow and grow.
It will. And after tonight, you'll even have a better sense of how to make that happen. So thank you for sharing with us. Cindy,
you're welcome.
I know you, thank you. I know you're on mute, but did you want to share?
Yeah. Lori was hosting a party for a close friend of my sister.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those things like, I don't really know what I need, because I was a consultant years ago when my children were younger. They're now adult children.
Yep.
So it's one of those like, okay, um, I actually have been off of work on medical disability for
Okay.
several issues that I have. And I thought, what is another way for me to bring an income in that I can do and not have to spend 8 hours somewhere trying to sit all day or that type of thing. I have back issues. So I was like, okay. So it was kind of like Lori said, I think that there's a reason that it happened. And just, I love the products.
Yeah.
I told her, I think I have to go through and see what's still the same, but my sister was my biggest client that I had through Pampered Chef.
Uh-huh.
And it comes at a time too where she just went back to work. My nephew, I'm sorry, turned 16, and she's just going back to work. She hadn't worked from the time he was 3 until now. So I said, well, that's great. You're going back to work. You'll be able to support my business.
Right.
So, but my main thing, I guess, too, which I don't know if you get into later, but I think one of my things are like asking for that booking and just continuing to find ways to do that. I did let Lori know I did sign up for the post my party
Okay.
that site, and I did end up going ahead and purchasing the books that they had.
Okay.
So
Very good.
I'm getting through those.
Good. And everything is a process. So we try to take this in somewhat of a step-by-step process. But you will notice that things will get a little bit all over the place. And then, like I said, the dust will kind of settle and you will definitely feel much better. So again, I'm super excited for you guys. And like I said, this is really the best time to be a consultant. So the next couple of questions, if you take a moment, if you can answer those all the way down to what are you most excited about? And I'll give you a couple seconds there to do that. I'm actually feverishly looking for something on my computer, so I apologize if my head is turned here, but it's for our next class. So take a moment there, and we'll give you a second and we'll keep moving. Or have you guys already got it done? Okay, we'll give you another second or two. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So one of the things that we like to kind of discover is we like to kind of dig even deeper. So initially when a person says, this is why I want to do this. Like, for example, I have a goal of, I want to lose 25 more pounds. I've lost a bunch of weight and I'm still, moving forward to do that. And so it's not really about losing 25 pounds, right? Like that is a starting why. But if I were to really sit back and say, okay, I want to lose 25 pounds, but is that really going to motivate me to get up every day and do what I need to do? Maybe initially, but then if I dig a little bit deeper and try to discover what that really means, that means I'm going to be more comfortable in my clothes. I'm going to feel better about myself. So it's not really the superficial part of it. It's the underneath part of it that really makes a difference. So if you think about some of the things that you said, are the reasons that you're doing it, try to peel the onion skin off of that why and dig a little bit deeper, because that's truly where your core sits. And that's what's going to drive you to reach the levels of success that you're looking for. So when you guys log in to Consultants Corner, that is the website where we have kind of like the back office function of our Pampered Chef parties. There is a section in there called Dash. It's a purple box right on the main dashboard. And in that section, they're going to give you about 10 super important classes. And I always make sure I preface this, that those 10 classes range from a minute to 5 minutes. So they won't take you very long, less than an hour to complete all 10, but they're going to have some important pieces in there. You want to make sure that you give your password and your login information to your director. So that way, if anything goes awry, she can log in very quickly and help you move forward. She's going to want to know, or he's going to want to know, your 30-day date and your 90-day date, because a lot of great things circumvent around those dates. And if you haven't already set up a launch party, that is something that you definitely want to do. If you've already done that, then we do have other options to get you moving forward, which we're going to start talking a little bit about. So after today's class, I'm going to provide this document to you called our 7 steps training document. So you kind of have 3 resources, well, many resources. You have us as your directors, you have the 7 steps training document, and you have Dash. And Dash is where you're going to, where Pampered Chef is going to give you their training information. So why do we have another document? Well, we are on the top team in the country. Everybody wants what we have. So you guys are super, super lucky. So we all sat down as upper level directors and we constructed this 7 steps to fast track success. So I want you to kind of look at this because it can appear overwhelming at first. But if you look at this first document as if you had a notebook in your hand, let's say a 3-ring notebook, this would be the sleeve, like what would go on the front cover of the notebook. So basically it's telling you what's inside of the notebook. And then every time you see a blue hyperlink, that's kind of like a tab in the back of your notebook. So you'll see here, well, let me back up actually.
Are you supposed to be screen sharing, Lorraine? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
is it not?
No,
Oh, geez, my apologies.
it's okay.
It was sharing. Let me stop sharing real quick and then I'll reshare. Okay, so let's go back over this. So can you see this now? Okay, cool. All right, so this is just the image of the document. So this document, imagine this document in a notebook. Oh, where's my notebook? A notebook like this. So you have a little cover. You can't really see that very well, but you have a little cover and you're going to take that and put it inside of there. That's going to tell you everything that is in your notebook. And then when you look at the tabs, the tab will be tab 1 will be learning Google Docs. Tab 2 would be welcome to our team and so on. Every time you see a blue hyperlink, that means there's material below that. Okay. And then at the bottom of each of these tabs, there's a link that says go back to the front of the document. And this is the front of the document. So after this class, you're going to have access to all of this. And here's the best tip. Don't hop around because it gets so confusing. So follow the steps and that will lead you to a smoother ride in your startup Pampered Chef. So today we're covering 1, 2, and 3. And then class 2 covers additional pieces of the 7 steps. So every time you see a hyperlink, that means there's something like nuggets, training, or what have you behind there. So step 1 of the training is really just 2 minutes long. If you're not familiar with Google Drive, it's going to teach you in 2 minutes how to use it. We have a lot of documents from our trainings that go into Google Drive, so you'll want to make sure that you download that on your computer if you don't already have it. The second is step 2 is training on Boards. And Boards is a free app that has a lot of the material that we use to coach our host. So you just go to your app store and you download Boards. And once you download it, let us know, let Lori know, let myself know, whoever your recruiter is, and then we will provide you with the training boards. The purpose of these is so you'll have all of the training right at your fingertips versus having to be at your computer to have any type of training materials. So step 3 is where you book your first party, and that's also going to be in Boards. So where do you guys think your first parties come from? I will tell you, your first parties are going to come from people that you know. They're going to be people that you kind of know and people that you barely know. So what I mean by that is the beauty of Facebook is that you can reach out to somebody, and even if you haven't spoken to them in a long time, that's what Facebook is all about, is being able to catch up with people that you haven't spoken to in a long time and do a quick check-in. I always say, as a Pamper Chef consultant, you want to be a friendly friend on Facebook. That means in the morning or whatever time you hop on Facebook, comment on 5 or 6 friends' posts. And then maybe a few weeks later, go in and ask them to have a party. So you've resurfaced in their life. And I do this to as many people as I can, because I know that, one day I may want to reach out to them, and it's easier to reach out to them if I've been a friendly Facebook friend versus none at all. So that's just kind of a good practice to get into. So you're going to find your first group of parties from either your launch party, or you're going to find them from your friends on Facebook or people that even outside of Facebook. So the acronym RO stands for reach outs, and you're going to see that term often. So just to let you know, it says here, how many reach outs will it take basically to get one party? So what we experience as a new consultant, we suggest that you do 30 reach outs a day for 5 days in a row. Why is that important? Because when you do enough, you get what you need. And so what we have found is the rate of success for a new consultant is every 30 reach outs, they usually get between 2 to 3 parties from those 30 reach outs. And so as a result, what we're going to suggest is in your first 2 weeks of business to have 4 parties in your first week and 4 parties in your second week. So how many of you have ever made a whirlpool? Like you jumped into a pool that's above ground and you made the whirlpool where you sat or you walked in it and you started doing that circle formation to get the water to turn? Either of us? Any of us? I know me and my daughters have done this multiple times. And as we know, we're not going to look at the video because it doesn't actually work. But what we know is that it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. We know that what's super important is you have to keep moving. You have to keep swimming. And if you stop swimming, what happens? The water eventually stops, right? So if you think about a whirlpool, you want to keep swimming. You want to make sure you're staying in the same direction. You cannot stop. Can you stop at any point in time? Yeah, you can. You can stop for a few minutes, lift up your feet and allow that flow to go with you, but you got to put your feet back down again pretty quickly so the flow won't stop. And so that's kind of an analogy of our business. So in the beginning of a business or any time in a business, reach outs are critical to what we do. So basically you're going to send a message to 30 friends each day for 5 days in a row. And by that time, you will have at least 8 parties, if not more, to get started. And I know from a fact, we as consultants, I know Lori had to do this as well, but when I was a consultant back in 1998, before Facebook, we had to do all of this live, like in front of them. Like I had to say, Tammy, I've never met you in my life, but hey, do you want to have a party? And it was definitely a lot harder than it is now. It's so easy now because all you're doing is sending messages, and eventually a person will answer yes or no. And so the rate of success as a new consultant, like I mentioned, is 30 and 3 is about 30 reach outs, 2 to 3 parties are going to be booked from it. So what we challenge you to do is either 30 reach outs, 5 days in a row, 25 reach outs, 7 days in a row, 50 reach outs, 3 days in a row, or 150 reach outs in 1 day. The idea is 150 reach outs within a 5 to 7 day time frame. And that's it. That is going to launch your business. Most of us, I would say probably 90% of us or more, actually have at least 150 friends on Facebook. One of my consultants, who was the #1 consultant in her first 90 days amongst all consultants in the entire company, only had 50 friends. And so I was like, all right, Susan, we need to go on a mission to build your friends list. So if your friends list is not as big as you would like it to be, you can always add 5 to 10 friends each day and make that list even bigger. But what I have found is most people have at least 300, oftentimes 500 is about the average. But you will see that your friends list will grow as a result. So here's the deal, and you'll hear this a lot in our business. The fortune in the business is not doing that first reach out, but it's actually in the follow-up. The follow-up is the key to everything with our business. So when you make reach out one, let's say I call Tam, or I not call, that was a long time ago. I messaged Tammy and I see that she saw my message, but she didn't reply. So you would think that Tammy's not interested. At least I would, because if Tammy was interested, she would respond. But that's completely not the case. So even though a person has seen that you sent them a message and they did not reply, never look at that as your answer. Your answer is a no or a yes or not right now. So we're going to talk a little bit more about why this is important. So here's how, this is like a sales industry wide, not necessarily Pampered Chef. And thankfully our statistics are not this tough. Ours are much easier. Like this is kind of like the car salesman business. So which one of these people would you like to be? 48% of the people never follow up with a new prospect. So you get somebody who is in your party and maybe they did something that, you know, made you think, oh, they're a rock star, but you never followed up with them. So 48% of the people, half of us do not follow up with a new prospect. 25% of us will make a second contact and stop. 12% make only 3 contacts and stop, and 10% make more than 3 contacts. But look what happens. 2% of the sales are made on the first contact. Like that's a terrible rate of success. And thankfully we have a much better rate of success. And as you go on, you will see 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Now, we don't have to make that many contacts. This is an example basically of like a hard sales type of pitch. We actually find a lot of success on reach out number 2, reach out number 3, and reach out number 4. You're not going to have a whole lot of success on the very first reach out, because you got to think about it like this. If I were to message you right now and ask you to have a party, you are on a call right now. So the likelihood of you being able to respond is slim and none. But the problem with Facebook is once you look at that message, the notification is gone. And so you are going to get off this call, eat dinner, maybe go do some shopping, maybe sit down and relax, and you're going to completely forget that Lorraine just messaged you to have a party. So you are no different than the other people as well. So oftentimes that reminder is the key. Most of my parties come from reach out 2, 3, and 4. It always amazes me because I used to think, oh my gosh, I'm bugging Tammy, Cindy, but no, people message me back on the 4th message and say, Lorraine, I'm so sad. I'm so bad. I meant to respond to you, but I didn't. So they're apologizing to me. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, I just reached out to them 4 times, but it happens every single day. So I know it's the right thing. So why do we suggest 4 parties a week? Here's why. We have some control over our success, but not entire control. Just like home parties, you know, there was a home party or 2 and 4,000 home parties that I did where nobody showed up. You know, I did everything I was supposed to do. The host probably did what she was supposed to do, but it just happens sometimes. So the beauty of this business is right now, we don't get in our car. We just get on our computer or our phone. So we recommend 4 parties because this is what typically happens. One of those parties flips. That means that the party is taken by the host because she becomes a consultant. Most often, who becomes consultants? Our host. So a party usually flips each week with somebody who wants to sign up. Then you usually have 2 parties that are pretty darn good. And those are parties that are going to get submitted and processed, and you're going to get commission off those. And then the flop is the one that the host just doesn't invite. She only invites 10 people or doesn't invite enough people or whatever the case may be. Maybe he's not active in her party, but always 1 party a week flops. So let me give you an example of why this is so, so important. And so here's an example of 6 parties I had in a week. So I had one party that was $41, 1 party that was $166, 1 party that was $1,000, 1 that was $600, and 1 that was $700. So these are all fantastic. But what if I only had these 2 parties that entire week? Or what if I just had this one? Like this time I made like $700, $800, and this I would have made like 20 bucks. So it does make a huge difference to have several parties more than you actually want. So then you get what you actually need. Okay, so after the call here today, I'm going to give you what's called the Frank's List. The Frank's List is just an acronym. Frank stands for F is friends, R is relatives, A is acquaintances, N are neighbors, K is through your kids, people you know through your kids, and S is just basically miscellaneous. So why are we sharing this with you? Because if you happen to run through all of your Facebook friends, which I've never seen happen, you have this backup here. But honestly, what I do when I'm looking to book extra parties is I just look who's online. The little people have green dots next to their name. That means they're online and they are active on Facebook. Typically, not always, because I always stay active, but I'm not always on Facebook. I need to probably change that. So the goal is to start reaching out, doing 150 reach outs in 5 days. You can pick up a notebook and write 150 names down. You can go on Facebook and download your Facebook friends list. If you want that information, just let us know. And it says here, book for 8/5 with 4 and 8/13 with 4. But the deal is you'd want to book, let's see, today is the 13th. You would want to go for booking the 21st and the 28th of October. Give this week the time for you to get training, or maybe you already have a party or two, which is fine, but you want to try to book 4 parties on the 21st, 4 parties on the 28th, and that is going to get your business up, moving, and you will get a nice paycheck come November 8th. So that is always a good thing. So what happens in our business is Pampered Chef not only gives you your commission check, but they also give you more free products. So these change all the time. So it's a little bit different now. Excuse me, I need to update this slide. As a matter of fact, let me just write myself a note. I meant to do it last week, but I forgot. So, so you're going to get different bonuses when you hit sales levels. The sales levels are the same. So when you have sales of $500 in your first 30 days, you're going to get 2 products. Right now it's a brownie pan and another item. This here is null and void at the moment. Whoops. And then you're also going to get an enamel baker, which that's still the case at $12.50 in sales. And then $2,500 in sales, you get a skillet, and then $5,000 in sales, you get a knife set. So you'll see here why we were talking about those 30 and 90-day dates, why they're so important. This is why, because all these things are circumventing around that time of your business. So it says here 90 days. But most people want to achieve this in 30 to 60 days. Usually, I'll just mute you. That's okay. Why can't I? It's okay.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Okay, so now we want to talk about fast track recruiting. So fast track recruiting and fast track sales all circumvent around that 90 days. So the number one prospect in your business is your host. So both of you were hosts, and Lori and I were both hosts. So that's 100% success rate of hosts that join the business. And if anybody's going to join 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your host. So we're going to give you words to use to just simply share with them. And you're going to be surprised as the people that jump up and say, I might be interested in doing this, just like we did. So this is what we call the fast track recruiting. And again, you're going to get all this material. So this is just trying to give you an overview. You can go back and then digest more of it later. So when new consultants recruit people in their first 90 days, every new consultant you recruit, you get $100 cash. So my first 90 days, I busted it out. Like, I'm just like, let's go for this. I know that if I ask enough people, it's going to happen. So I ended up having 15 people join my team, and that was an extra $1,500 in cash. That was a bonus on my paycheck. And all I did was use the words that I'm going to give you. I was new. I wasn't a coach and trainer. So just like Lori is not doing coaching and training, just like Karen is not doing it at the moment, they're going to help you along the way, but you don't have to be a coach or trainer at that time either. So every new consultant that promotes, every time you have a new consultant join your team, you get $100 in cash. Plus, you're going to get another $500 when 5 consultants join your team. And then you get a new title as well as a bonus, and that's called a director. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of Mary Kay. Mary Kay, you have to have 20 people on your team to be a director. We have 5, and that's it. So I've seen consultants recruit 5 people in their first week of business, and I've seen consultants do it in 30 days, 45 days, and so on. So it's really at your discretion. The more you ask, the more you're going to get exactly what you want. And of course, you're helping other people get what they want as well. And that's kind of the key. They always say the more people that you help get what they want, the more blessings that you get for you and your business. So as you continue on, you have the opportunity to get more and more cash bonuses. So how we're going to wrap up today is just give you a couple of couple to-dos. And again, I'll be sending this to you after as well. So the first thing is to do those 150 reach outs. Again, don't worry too much about making sure that, you contact this person or that person. Obviously, if you have some people that you really think will help you, reach out to those people first, but go ahead and just start going straight down your list. Take out your phone. And if I was messaging you guys tonight, like I can do 50 reach outs in less than 15 minutes because I know the words just like you guys are going to have. So I'll just be on Facebook and I'll send, hey, Tammy, message. Hey, Cindy, message. Hey, Lori, message. It's the exact same thing for each and every person. So it's really less about the message and more about the number of people that you're doing the reach outs for. So we were doing block parties for a period of time, but I think most consultants have reverted back to just doing single parties where, if Tammy's having a party, it's Tammy's people in the group. But we do suggest that you book 4 parties in your first week, which would be the 21st, and 4 parties in your second week, which would be the 28th. So we've gone through steps 1 and 2, and we'll also be going through additional steps as we continue on. But basically the first steps take 2 minutes to go through. Step 2, if you wanted to review it, takes 10 minutes. Steps 3 through 6 take 30 minutes, and step 7 takes 10 minutes. So each of these steps do take a little bit of time, but they're not going to bombard your time at all. So that ends our first class. And I want to just stop here just to see if you guys have any questions about getting your business started. I know it's a lot of information, but it does get a little bit easier as we go along. Any questions you can think of? So just to kind of bring everything together, I always tell consultants, try not to think about all the stuff that has to be done, because really nothing needs to be done except get parties. So if you can take your blinders, like when horses are in a parade, they put blinders on them so they don't get distracted by anything on the side to make them kind of go crazy, right? So if you saw all these things going on the outside of things that you want to do with your business, those are exciting things, but you can't move forward unless you have parties. So try to put your blinders on and think of nothing more than I need to book 4 parties for the 21st and 4 parties for the 28th. And then once you have that booked, you can keep going. As a matter of fact, it's not a bad idea. Then you book your next for the 4th, you book your next for the 11th, and you just continue to move forward. Now, your parties on the 21st, you're going to get a couple bookings from those, and they're going to fill in the gaps that sit in your calendar. But I never rely on a party to fill my business because sometimes I get none. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes I have a flop party and I don't get any sales. So that's why I always make sure I have multiple parties going so I can allow for the failures that are just going to happen with the business. But more often, if you follow the steps that we give you, the success is right there behind that little, failure and bump in the road. So that's pretty much what we needed to cover today. Anybody have any thoughts, questions, concerns, anything? I think I friended both of you, so I'll be able to share the documents with you. I'm just writing your names down here. And my plan was to do class 2 right after this, but I am having a really heck of a time finding the training class. I just used it last week, and I'm not sure if it's on my computer that I don't have with me. So if you wanted to stay on for class 2, you can, or you can catch up with class 2 next week. Completely up to you guys. What would you prefer? Next week? Okay. Cindy, what do you feel like? She's muted. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do just that. Because right now all that matters really is just getting the parties. And then once we have the parties, then next week's going to be the perfect timing. We'll set you right up to, do the next steps. And that'll be actually in line with what you need to do. We will give you some additional materials. If I happen to find, I have no idea where this class went. I have 3, 4, and 5, but I can't find class number 2. And I just have a feeling it's on my other computer, which is not here. But we will provide you with the information, and I will message you guys each of those pieces of material, the Frank's list, the boards, and the 7-step document. So you guys will all have those. And if you have any questions about the training, you can reach out to your recruiter or you can reach out to me. And I think that'll settle us up for tonight. Everyone good? All right, guys, thanks so much. And I'll get this recorded, or excuse me, I'll get this recording downloaded and then I'll send it on to you guys. All right, have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.